You had mentioned about the smoke alarms and carbon monoxide. You had experience with that before, Paul. I remember when your family got really sick. Maybe tell us a little bit about that and what you would do differently.
This doesn't put me in a good light, though.
Well,
didn't you just say your fire alarms need batteries?
Yeah.
I think we're past that point.
This is not.
You're already in the shadows, dude.
This is not my best episode.
Just embrace.
So we had a leak in our shower I don't know when it was. This was a long time ago. I was working in the oil field at the time. We had a leak in our shower pan, and the inside of the furnace closet, the utility closet, all of the drywall got wet. So we had somebody come in, remove the furnace, repair everything, fix the shower, all that. When he put it in, the exhaust vent didn't get connected correctly, so it was just venting into the house. And that repair was done in the summer, so the furnace hadn't been on. So when I turned the furnace on in the winter, all of a sudden everybody's getting sick and headaches, throwing up, that kind of stuff. So it was pretty bad. But when we would leave, we would be fine. They would come back, and over the weekend, it was always the worst. So finally, my wife had told me bring one of the monitors in. So I bring the monitor in, and it was like 500 parts per million carbon monoxide, which is not great. So, yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's scary. It's scary.
Very scary. Yeah. And I remember you guys were really sick. I mean,
yeah, it was bad.
Hospital sick. And so now you have carbon monoxide testers or alarms and whatnot. When I learned something, I was talking to a firefighter because I was like, actually, it was Bryson. It was your husband. I said, it doesn't make sense to me because carbon monoxide is heavier than air, so it goes down. How do the carbon monoxide tester, or I should say alarms, work when they're up high? And he goes, it's the displacement of the oxygen and carbon monoxide. So, but it's such an important thing to have it in your house because you never know. We get inspections all the time where furnaces have cracked heat exchangers, and so they're just leaking carbon monoxide into your house, which is pretty incredible. Now, you've been saying too, radon has been a big issue. So we're talking about health and safety. This is another component. Talk to us a little bit about radon and what your experience is there, Paul.
Well, radon is naturally occurring. So you can't say that my house doesn't have it because I'm in this area. Anytime you move into a house or do repairs or a major renovation, you should test for radon, because if you are changing the envelope of the house, you're allowing more and more radon possibly into the house.
Now explain to the viewers what radon is. It's a silent gas, right? You can't smell it.
No,
it's a natural gas that seeps up from the earth.
It's a byproduct of the decomposition of uranium.
Wow.
So that's the science of it. And it's like 10 steps down, you get to radium. And once radium gets into the house, you get radon. Radon has a half-life of 3 days. So that means radon becomes not radon. It goes into its byproducts after 3 days. So you don't really get different levels if you have the house closed up or vented. You just have radon coming into the house, and it's always decomposing or breaking down and then replenishing itself. So the thing to do with radon, if you have high levels, and the action level that the EPA says is 4 picocuries per liter.
Oh, that's yeah.
So I did get
that makes a lot of
test.
sense. Yeah.
So action level is at 4, which means you have to put a mitigation system in. So what we do is put plastic. If there's a crawl space, we would put plastic against the floor or against the earth barrier, and then vent everything out of the house.
So gas seeping up into the crawl space, you basically vent it out.
Yeah. So all you can do with radon, you can't like put a machine in there. All you can do is move it away from the house.
So I have a question for that. If that's how it's getting into the house, would you have less of a problem with a house that had a slab?
Not necessarily. If there are, we always see cracks in monolithic pores and stuff like that. That's how it would get in.
So it could come in through any crack in your foundation, or it could come in maybe around like where you have drains and any holes in the ground. Okay.
Yeah. So anytime that the foundation is penetrated, so your sewer line, your plumbing line, any of those things.
So you're not safer you're not safer from radon. You don't have
With a
less numbers
slab?
of radons with a slab.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
I had one client who they bought a house with a basement, and radon is pretty prevalent in Durango. You see it pretty often. And this house had been empty for a long time, so it was closed up. And there was it was a basement, but it wasn't really a basement. It was like a cellar almost. And it was the highest level of radon I'd ever seen on a test done. And so I was kind of talking to them about different options, and they were pretty old school. And the guy goes, "I'm just going to stick a fan down there." And I was like,
Wow.
okay.
So
It's your right to do what you want, but
Yeah.
he wasn't concerned about it at all. He's like, "I'm going to open up the doors and I'm going to put a fan down here and it'll be fine."
wow, interesting.
But I probably would have had something installed.
Yeah. So, Paul, why? Because our viewers are like, radon, we're talking about gas. They're like, okay, great. I'm not too concerned about it. Why would people need to pay attention to the radon levels?
So radon is not just a gas. Radon is actually radioactive. When it breaks down, it is actually putting out gamma rays, which is radiation, and it is the second leading cause of lung cancer behind smoking.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
There's a difference between when you talk about carbon monoxide, that kind of a gas or a problem being in your house, which will kill you immediately. Radon is something where you may not know and you're not getting sick, but you are developing cancer, right? I mean, that's what it's ultimately doing to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
it's pretty much radiation poisoning over time.
second leading cause of cancer behind
So lung cancer.
behind smoking. Radon is a big deal. Get your house tested for radon. It is across this continent. It's across America. You're not safe if you're in any specific area. Like, get your home tested. There's no, I mean,
And it's very affordable.
$200 or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's under $200, and remediation is highest I've seen is $4,000. For a normal house in this area is going to be under $3,000.
And then you see the opposite with like mold, which is very expensive to treat.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
I just had an issue at our house. Our plumbing I turned on an outside faucet and heard it. I was like, it's going under the house, and got a plumber over there. And sure enough, I was like, mold is something I feel like you don't want to mess with. You want to get it taken care of right away, because same thing, and it can get everywhere.
Yeah. Make you very sick.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we just had an episode on, mold and clandestine and whatnot. But let's pivot a little bit. What other things should you be thinking of as a homeowner? What about, ladies, your thoughts on this? Like some of the social media sites at like Crime Watch and, the registered sex offender stuff. Give me your thoughts on what you would like to tie into, or what you think people should tie into to just be aware, because we've seen stuff happen like that gentleman that had the gun that was walking around our neighborhood. We knew about it because my wife was on one of those platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a rule. I do not post whenever I'm home alone. I don't. So by the time this episode comes out, Bryson will be back, but he's out of town right now. And if you look through my social media sites, you would not know that. I do not share whenever I'm home alone. I never shared what shift he was on when he was on the fire department. I try and be very cognizant and mindful. And even when we're out of town, I really try not to post too much. Like, I try not to advertise I'm out of town. Now, I do post, we went to Bryson's Ironman. I was posting some stuff about that, but we had someone watching the house too. So that's one thing I really try and be mindful about on social media. And I think especially younger women that post all the time, you should wait a few days before posting. People don't need to know where you are at all times, I don't think.
yeah. And if you're in that cadence, you can get where you set something up to post a couple of days later or whatever else. So it's not doesn't line up with your exact schedule.
Exactly.
Yeah.